This is going to be my long-awaited review of Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, I know a lot of people have been touting this as, like, the worst Star Wars movie ever. It's bad, it's so bad. Look, I think we can all agree that this is not the worst Star Wars movie. That title goes to Episode 2. Yeah. I dare you to think of a worse Star Wars movie than Attack of the Clones. Yeah. Although you could make the argument for Phantom Menace because of Jar Jar Binks, but on a personal level, I really just hate that movie of Attack of the Clones. And this movie is not Attack of the Clones, I assure you. Having said that, though, this is not one of the best Star Wars movies I've ever seen. It's not in any stretch of the imagination of what, a lot of haters are trying to say, like, oh, it's the worst Star Wars movie. It's far from it. But it's not the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen. It's just okay. It's just okay. It's just I was expecting a hell of a lot worse from this movie. I was expecting so much fucking worse from this movie, and I walked out going, wasn't bad. But it wasn't good either. It was just kind of bland. It was just kind of there. What was I gonna say? Oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, this movie just kind of felt like it was there. Alden Ehrenreich, I hope I'm saying his name right. Hope I'm saying that dude's name right, but yeah, the guy playing Han, he was fine, he was fun. There was so much, he said a lot of, like, Han-ish lines. There were a lot of good, like, Han-like lines in there that I really enjoyed. Especially I loved his stuff with him and Chewie. I loved a lot of the stuff between him and Chewbacca, throughout this. I think that was some of the best some of the nice stuff between them was very heartfelt, and a lot of the back and forth between them is really cool. Because, if anything, if this movie was to work, that dynamic of Han and Chewie had to be good. And thankfully it was good. The rest of the crew was fine. I think the two standouts of this movie, though, are Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett, and of course, Donald Glover as Lando. I mean, what I love about his performance as Lando is that it just feels like a young Billy D. Williams. Like, some of the mannerisms and how he even says Han instead of Han, that was a lot of fun. Even like how he how he does some of the, like, inflections of the tone. It feels so much like I'm listening to Billy D. Williams as he's giving me a smooth, crisp Colt 45. Yeah, so Donald Glover as Lando, but that one's been knocking out of that one was like a given. That was going to be the really good one. Emily Clarkson as Kira, she's fine. She wasn't, we're not talking like Terminator Genesis level Emily Clarkson, thank God. This is good. It's not like Game of Thrones level good, but it's serviceable. There are a lot of stuff in here, which I'm gonna do like a full-on spoiler review in this on my other channel, Comic Universe. But I'm gonna just do minor spoilers here and there, just for this video. I'm just gonna do some just minor spoilers here and there, so just be warned. Yeah, it's almost 4 minutes into the video, and I'm just now bringing that up. Good job. Good job, Zilla. You're always staying in track, aren't you? Yeah. Can't tell Anywho. So, the story kind of just it does kind of meander a few times, like, there are just some points where I'm like, okay, hurry it along, move the car, George, move the car, George. But there are other times where it's just so action-packed, like the scene where they're running away from the Empire is so cool, where they're in the Kessel, where they're making the Kessel Run, and it's so cool. And like, it helps too, like I was getting so invested because it was playing like the music from, I can't remember the name of the piece, but it's like dun 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 dun. Like when that when that music kicked in and they're running from the Empire, I was like, man, this is really good. But then there are other times where it's just really slow, and you can tell, like, there were some points in here, like, you can see at some of the points in this movie, like, where Ron Howard filled in and where Lord Miller filled in. So that was really neat. Also, I'm not going to talk about it here, trust me, we're going to discuss it in the spoiler review on Comic Universe, but that cameo at the end of a certain villain, yeah, I understand it, and don't get me wrong, I know I understand the backstory well enough, and I know it fits in with the timeline perfectly, but now I'm kind of wondering how are you going to tie this in and how that character got from A to B. And if you know the character I'm talking about, and if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, then you'll probably be asking that question too. And I'm not talking about his final destination. I'm talking about how I need to stop or I'm going to really spoil it. But yeah, that character, oh, that was cool, but it was like at the same time I was like, how does that work again? Because that doesn't seem like that's where we were going with. All right, well, whatever. I mean, I know how it works, and I know this is a different time period in the Star Wars history. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, so how do we get from this character being here to where he is when we see him again in Rebels? Anyway. There's also some neat little nods here and there, and I know my friends Red Leader Antilles and Joel Davis, they really dug the little references. I might need to watch the movie again to catch all of them, but there are some neat little references, like we get a offhanded mention of the fate of Aura Singh, which I was wondering when they were going to bring that character back, but I guess that'll be told in like a one and done story or like a novel. I'm hoping that gets a novel of what happened to what happened to Aura Singh, because it's just casually mentioned in the movie, and I was like, oh, that's neat. But yeah, the film's fine. It feels like a Western. Everyone does their part, and I was expecting so much worse from this movie. I was expecting a lot worse, but there is some dragging points, and some of the humor doesn't really fit. I do like how a lot of the stuff that happens in this film does kind of feel natural. Like, everything feels fluid. Like, it's not like a big deal. Like, oh, this is how Han got his vest, or, oh, this is how he got the DL-44 blaster. That moment where he gets the blaster is just like oh, there's a little scene right here. That's nice. But like I said, some of the best stuff comes from Lando and Woody Harrelson's character. And also, like, just the personal stuff with Han and Chewie, when they're on screen together, it feels, at least to me, it feels like classic, Harrison Ford with Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca. So I really enjoyed that. I really like that. Yeah, also L3, good character, and I like where we end up with her in terms of story, and I was like, oh, that's a neat little thing. But yeah, all in all, just kind of there. It's just kind of a there movie, really. So I didn't hate it like a lot of people are clearly hating, because I don't think this is the worst Star Wars movie ever. If you were to ask me like where this fits in, this is definitely the weakest, I will say. This is the weakest so far, mind you. This is the weakest of the movies, this is the weakest of the Disney era of Star Wars. This is definitely the weakest of the Disney era of Star Wars films. At least in my opinion. This is the weakest of that, because we've been going strong since the get-go with The Force Awakens, then Rogue One, then Last Jedi. At least I think Last Jedi is amazing. But yeah, this is just kind of like there for me. It just kind of really does nothing for me, so yeah. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Solo, a Star Wars story? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this. And also, if you haven't already, click that link to the description below to my other channel, Comic Universe, and soon we'll be having our spoiler review out soon enough. But yeah, once again, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.